All right, we get to the second map of Lotus. Both teams make big changes to the composition. Rankers down one in the series, but not out by any means. This turnaround, this win. I don't know what's happening anymore, Vance, because on paper going into this, after that first map, which also didn't turn out how we expected, I thought M80 were about to take this in two. I thought we were going to have to sit here and admit Roy was right, but Rankers, they take the dub.
Thankfully we don't. Thankfully we don't. I get to fight another round with Roy for the third map. But before we get into the discussion of the third map, I do agree. Everything was kind of like just par for the course for Envy going through that second map. Yes, both teams came through compositional changes, but most importantly, I find it that it was better here for Envy for sure, because now you have an opportunity to get a better scans that we were talking about that they were missing from last time when they played against their opponents on Blue Otter on the opening. So all of these of how they were able to like brute force and fight on the attack on and fight as a group. The A side control worked out in their favor despite maybe not having too much dive in their comp because of M80's compositional change. Them going out to a neon instead of a raise didn't allow for us to get too much utility to counteract on the rubble side of that defense for M80. So it allows somebody like pop in and for Inspire to do a lot of like big calls in the very beginning. Some great mid-rounding that happened after because you had great value from lurks coming out on the side of Inspire as well. And it showed why it was so one-sided in the first place rather for Envy.
And that lead that Rikers was able to get, Envy, I'm still getting used to that one, was really, really nice. So then even when we did see an M80 that was fighting back, whether it was M80 that was calling out a couple of these plays that Envy wanted to do, or it was an Envy that, you know, maybe playing a little loose with the game, a little caution to the win, they just had to get a couple of more to be cleaning that up. So going on forward, looking at this map, even if there is a couple of rounds where, you know, it's Roy, fake comeback, not meant to be.
Yeah, it's a classic fake comeback. The eco as well. That's what really destroyed M80 towards the very end. But there's a couple things that we should honestly start pointing in terms of like what really was a success point for Rankers. And I feel like we kind of have to talk about Inspire, right? Not only statistically did he dominate this match, but he also had 5 first bloods. He was a really, really massive point of contention on the defense side for Rankers, and probably the main reason why they look so good. His setups absolutely dismantled M80, and not only that, but I felt like he had a very good read in terms of how he wanted to set up his utility based around the fact that there was a neon in play, and it really felt like Sato got so little value as a result.
Yeah, when I look back at what was successful for Envy, really being able to punish in the C site, and then M80, they try to do the same thing back, and Inspire just putting an absolute stop to that. So really, really great stuff being able to see this from the Cypher and highlighting that a little bit more and pulling up a head-to-head between Inspire and Kinsera, the two top frags of this team. I think this really gets to highlight what difference Inspire was able to make, because Kinsera Vans, also a great performance, but when you have your duelist going up then against your Senti, it's really interesting to see. Plus the first bloods, like these two dominated in that fraction.
And it's also nice that I was able to find his form back playing the ISO on this map too for Kinsera. You saw one of those moments in the kill contract that he went with an Odin against Sato on top of that in the Gulag, right? So it's the good old shenanigans, exactly, of Kinsera, just like Bind, for example, in their qualifying game before. So he's definitely has found his footing going into that one. But Inspire, as Roy has mentioned, has been so good on the defensive side and anchor up for the team. But again, we talked about the good lurks that he was able to bring in on the attack side. So overall, I feel that not only around these two, but the whole team was kind of like really in a good flow state to have a good control here towards their attack side. And I'd like to say towards the first half of that second half, as soon as they got their money right here after losing that bonus. Because once you started seeing that comeback from M80, though, you definitely started seeing some communication slip through the cracks though for Envy, where for example Caillou had that amazing round in round number 22 where Okeanos also won his 1v1 in the Gulag against Kane. So these things could actually give a chance for M80 to say, hey, you know what, we kind of got dominated on one side here of this map, or one half here of this map, but we still have what it takes here to you know, maybe try to cross this over the finish line on the third map.
And kind of just to circle slightly back to the topic of Inspire and Kinsera, we have to kind of keep in mind as well that yes, Inspire had 5 first kills, but Kinsera also had 7. among those two players, they had all of the first bloods for that team. They were winning on all fronts. They were winning on the duelist front, so entry fragging from the front side, and they're also winning on the backside where as well, where the lurker is coming in. You can see Inspire doing so much of the team's dirty work, constantly pressuring the map by himself, finding little cracks, finding little nooks and crannies in the setup for M80, and just it kind of answers the reason why you think there's a communication failure. I just think that it's not even really a communication failure. It's just a testament to the fact that the pressure that Envy applies on these teams when they're playing against them.
Yeah, and it also brings out a good shout to talk about these two players going into this next map, which is going to be on Pearl. Because the last time they played this against Qbert Academy, this was like an 11-1 half on the attack side for Envy at that point. Kane Zera had over like 250 ADR, close to 250 ADR on the attack side itself, but on the defense, they both popped off. Sorry, both King Zera and both Inspire on defense were dropping over 200 ADR against a team like Qbert Academy. So this is going to be very, very scary on the side of M80 to go up against. But there has to be a reason why they float this through, because if not, knowing the last results here that Envy was able to prove against Qbert Academy, I would love to avoid that map if I were M80.
I mean, every map that we've seen so far has been the different outcome than what I kind of expected looking back on this footage and everything else. So I really don't know, but I do think that on paper with the recent results and everything, that if this is an Envy where Kane Zera's popping off and Inspire's really being able to hold down the fort, and when we're seeing an M80 where last two times they played this, we've gotten to see different compositions, and the last one not working out. If they're still in a transition state here, and on the other end, Roy, Envy are looking good, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like M80 hasn't looked terrible even against their match versus Shopify Rebellion Black. Yes, they didn't really have the result they wanted, but I feel like overall their ideas were clear. There were some obvious dysfunctions, but overall I don't feel like it's a really bad map for them. That being said, though, I want to circle back to something that Vancilia was talking about, and it's specifically the last time that we saw Envy playing this map. They absolutely looked phenomenal. The map just works so well into their like trademark playstyle, right? Because of how spread out you are on the defense. Everyone kind of needs to jiggle or like hold for their ones. There's just so many ways for you to get isolated on the defense side, and that's specifically where rankers, where Envy gets their superpowers. That's where Kane Zera is contacting into you, and you have a player on your team that has almost 70% first blood success chance taking ones. Now all of a sudden you have a lot of dysfunctions happening.
Right, that's definitely an Envy that we need to see, even if just not in this series, but going on forward. Because even bringing back up the org debuff in comparison to the in-between break segment where Poppin's like, there's not really any pressure. Now we're looking at playoffs. We're looking at the top team in the league. We're looking at their signing and everything else. This is a lot different pressure. And even though rankers, definitely in Lotus, they had some really great opportunities, really great shots, I still feel like the power level for Envy overall is just a smidge lower than maybe what we got to see near the end of the season. So I'm kind of curious then, is that we haven't played in a couple of weeks? Is this the pressure? I don't know. But bringing up the agent select, talking about Pearl, I'm hoping we can see a little bit more of the Envy that at the end of the season was just absolutely running over everyone. And I'm curious, Vans, on the side of M80, what comp is coming out?
Yeah, if anything, again, it's just first map jitter orgs, you know what I mean? But M80 are coming out with a Killjoy, so a little bit of a change coming through. So going into a Jet Sky on top of I haven't seen Sky on Pearl in decades, I like to say, pretty much, man. He feels ancient on a Sky on this map. So very, very intriguing to see what M80 is coming out with this one. I mean, there's a lot of mid control you could take with this. There's a lot of scaling they could do on a B side. You could still run some good fakes. And it also allows Sato to get activated a lot as well through the initiator support.
Yeah, and on the flip side for rankers as well, they have Kane Zera on the Jet. I don't think we have seen that yet. I think that's the first time we've even seen Kane Zera on a duelist that hasn't been ISO or Raze. So this is going to be very interesting. There's a bit of a mix-up for them as well. I thought personally that ISO would probably be very good on this map, considering the fact that his uppercut suppresses and silences people. So that would have been a very good win factor for them. But I'm very curious to see what the Kane Zera Jet looks like.
A lot of switch-ups from the teams today, making sure to keep everyone on toes in the playoffs. But it's time now to head into map number 3 in our series. And back over to your casters, Shift and Wyatt. Have fun.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of those situations, you know, we haven't seen rankers play an official competitive match in about a month. So it's not super surprising to see changes. I think, you know, it is a little bit one of those they were so successful with the ISO, it does feel a little bit odd to switch. Whereas for M80, we did watch them play this match versus Shopify Rebellion. They were trying to kind of go back to the old tried and true with like Breach Neon and just wasn't finding value there. So not surprised to see changes, but Wyatt, I am surprised to see Sky as well.
Yeah, I am really confused on this M80 comp. I'm going to be honest. This is not something that we ever see. Sky in this meta and just in previous recent metas has not been a strong agent really at all across any of the maps. You're just not seeing Sky anymore anywhere. And it almost feels funny to feel shocked by Sky, given at one point how dominant she was and how important she was. But that's just not the case anymore. M80 are going to have to do something impressive here. I want to be wowed. I want to see something amazing come out from them. This is very unique.
I think it's got to be one of those things of like, you better be able to predict where these hits are coming from with all of this kind of, forward utility that you can throw out. Prowlers, Trailblazers, Guiding Lights. Yeah, you get the contact on your own terms. You have to follow up off of that. So far is the case for M80 as they secure first blood at this battle of mid.
Yeah, they just go for an honest pop flash play, swing out together, find a first kill, run away. Good opening for them. They can try to play to the retake now, 5 versus 4.
Turret gets alerted, but it's just a fake. And look at the follow-up here through mid. How far do you want to go if you're rankers? Looks like the answer is very far. I mean, Kane is so deep, but oh, okay. Does get pushed off the angle for a touch. Defense now rotating quickly back over as they deal with Kanzera. Do they get prediction onto Inspire through Vents? Looks like Sato has already tagged him up a touch, so the answer seems to be yes. And I won't lie, Poppin is not going to feel super comfortable trying to work his way back into A, especially with B-Dog reclaiming Pit, but Inspire throws a little bit of consideration on this pinch.
Oh no, and Extra finds one as well. Poppin wants to get aggressive, but he's shut down. And now it's all on Inspire on the flank with no HP to work with.
No.
Should not be able to win this.
Yeah, Turret's also going to be a problem here. Can walk up a little bit further, but you're going to have to go, and you're going to go quickly. Flash comes through, Bao right there over the top of his turret, find the elimination. And the first blood battle at mid does still dictate the outcome of the round. M80 looking solid in the last handful of pistols.
I was surprised that they all got drawn so far off of sight by the pressure on B. It did give rankers an opportunity to really insert themselves sort of deep into that A site going into Flower's secret, but doesn't end up mattering. M80, though, I'm sure, without a doubt, they've gone back and watched the VODs that exist of rankers playing on this map, and it is one where they try to contact push into positions like this, where Inspire is right now, very, very frequently. They really love to expose as many parts of the map as possible by just slowly walking around. Inspire goes for the longest flanks here. So they're going to need to be weary of that.
Ooh, nice opening shot from Sato. Just as Eggster try to jump across over towards B-Long. Kanzera, once again, just not respecting the utility in place. Walking deep up through mid again. This time he's going to rewrap this back over to where the teeth of this Killjoy utility is. Turret on the corner. Here. And it's also going to reveal the Nano Swarm as Bao is still playing deep, making sure the mid flank stays safe.
You're going to see someone from M80 in that position Bao is in all the time. Inspire loves to try and push through the sewer to spawn.
Now it's a heavy-handed approach right through a connector. Kane is just throwing little shoulders with the knife out. B-Dog playing inside a pit. Okeanos on the cross. Should be enough for a good crossfire setup. Recon bolt flash combination allows Kanzera to catch one. Trades are decent. Weapons are also collected behind this. Could Val find anything on the cross? He sees Ion over towards Secret. And that might be enough for them to just use their numbers to isolate, but can they actually catch him in this corner? No, that's not bad. Ion able to find a 1-for-1 trade is really good news. And now the question mark is, where's the rest of this post plant? You got Sato still on a scope. Poppin and Inspire is going to play off one another. Crossfire setup. That works out for one. Poppin catches two. And Rankers. That's a massive reprieve moment after the pistol loss.
How the hell are they allowed to win that? They go 2 for 2 in the site with Classics over towards Secret. I mean, sure, B-Dog only had a Sheriff in that situation. He gets his, but I can't remember who the other player was that went down, also lost a duel in that instance. It was someone with a bulldog. Just going 1-for-1 is the major issue. And that's after they have man advantage. Oh, that was Oki just getting caught by the shorty close up. And then somehow Ion, caught in the corner, finds one with a Sheriff headshot, because of course he does. Just rankers things. Like, they win so many rounds like that they have simply no business ever winning.
That flips everything on its head. M80 now going to play for a heavy defensive stack through A. Inspire, the one responsible for this, is a lot of his focus is over towards mid. Does have the sheer behind him just in case. Sato, corner, lineup. I mean, take what you like. Now over to the burst. Inspire will fight all four. Line him up, knock him down. B site also being taken, leaving Bao by himself.
He is having a fantastic day, Inspire, and they're trying to set him up to maybe get the ace right now, or does Ion steal it? No, Ion does in fact steal it. No fun. I hate to see that happen. Inspire was on the flank too. Come on, bro.
That's a clean rebuttal there from Rankers. But now we go into our first full gun round. Operator going to be committed to by Sato. That has been a staple of his gameplay since being brought onto this M80 roster. Did look like the Outlaw was still in the same hands, though, for Kane. So we'll see if there's going to be any scope battles.
Yeah, which could be brutal, because I don't think Sato can afford armor. I think he's just glass cannon off.
I think so.
Yeah, that is the case. Glass cannon going up against the Outlaw. You'd hate to see that.
And this will be the first time that we really maybe see outside of the pistol of what is the intention of the Fade Sky combo for M80 defensively. I mean, you can already see the Guiding Light early, Trailblazer gets B control. The Fade's also playing on the opposite side. So again, it's just delay tactics, this utility, but Eggster very quickly into this dimensional drift. Gets the info, but whoa, Kane's gonna drop. A pivotal first win there from Okeanos. Trades will allow the Rankers to get on the site, though, for what will likely be a post-plant.
Planting right now for default. We've got a couple shock darts for the post-plant. Eggster with a flash. Does he try and pop through this? Just find a timing. He does find the window.
I don't think he sees the top of the ponytail, though. Sato doesn't make a difference. Poppin comes with two, just using the Outlaw to his advantage. And now M80 are just down to Kaya, who's stuck over towards Secret. Nowhere to go here at the pit. He's also been tagged, and Poppin will spam him through the wall.
I can't. Get Sato as well, by the way, who had the no armor. Operator gone. All of that investment completely up in smoke for M80. Back onto the eco. And when we get to this next buy round, both teams will have a lot of ultimates, in fact, but still that snowball could absolutely be on for the Rankers. I mean, it's just disgusting. He finds three with the Outlaw on the retake. I mean, it's just filthy.
And Kane's Era is going to keep it alive here for Rankers. M80 going to get some space over through A main. Same shear wall to be placed just as a safety measure for Inspire on this lurk through mid. He's also going to have Ion working with him. But the execute is well underway towards B. And again, Caillou is just in a spot where he just has to kind of read it with his utility, but you can't stop this.
Yeah, there's nothing he can do aside from trying to find a kill with the Sheriff. B-Dog does so.
That should be a weapon collection as well. Not committing for it as of yet, though. Ion, mid-map. Oh, he's being chased. Oh, this should be isolation. Ion at least able to find one. That's not bad news overall. Oh, good damage. Also up top towards tower. Pushes B-Dog off the angle. So the plant is in. Flash is out. Easy follow-up from Inspire. And the opportunities of some of these opening Sheriff shots going to be down to Caillou for a 1v3. Wow, he's going to quit the Seekers here. Inspire's low on HP. Oh, goodness. The Steel Garden comes out just as soon as Poppin peaks. Gets caught in the transition between weapons, and Rankers will secure the round.
That was a really nice counter ult from Inspire. 2v1, sure, but you just want to make sure that you lock up that important round. Really well played from him, who remains to be on fire. 8 for 1, still at the top of the board after a dominant showing on Lotus. He has been exceptional today for Rankers. We're like, you know, typically he's a guy that's going to have his big rounds where he'll come up with a flank, get a crucial backstab, that'll put so much pressure on the other team. And they'll win a round by virtue of that. He's not always the guy that's just going to be running the scoreboard with tons of multi-kills, but that has been the story today.
Well, timeout here for M80. Lots to talk about. And I think some of the precarious thoughts about this Fade Sky are starting to come to life pretty quickly. Now, again, yeah, like Inspire's popping off the scoreboard. Those 4 right there were pretty darn free. But if you're M80, I mean, there needs to be, I think, a decision here of, do we want to use this Sky Fade utility to get aggressive early and shut down space, or do we want to save a lot of it and just default for playing for retakes? It's just so tough, I think, to frame those up, I think, especially with how quickly rankers can get deep into sight with things like a Yoru and a Jet. I know that neither of them have necessarily been as impactful as Poppin and Inspire, but still, that's a consideration. And we need to learn, I think, in this round, what M80 are going to prefer to do.
There have to be moments where they're going to be needing to be dynamic in that way, right? There's an operator in the hands of KaneZero on attack, which would certainly lead you to believe that rankers want to slow the game down, give him an opportunity to find an opening.
I think it's just the thing is, like, we're seeing it in a handful of rounds. So hold on a second, Sato. Battle with Ion. Star is placed. Ion hasn't popped it yet, just kind of holding this position. And they may try to flash him off this corner with Eggster rejoining. But what I was about to say is, like, the Prowler and the opening Trailblazers really haven't done much to force rankers to stop or do much of anything. But here we go. Kayu's going to join the party here. And they may walk up and try to get aggressive. Dry peak comes through. Smoke will eventually be pulled back. And this battle will continue to rage on.
Swing out! I mean, that's a sickening shot from Eggster. Both B players removed.
Well, the site's wide open now. Defense rotating over, but none of this utility for Bao is in place to stop this. Poppin's getting deep in towards back halls. And with support from KaneZero with the scope, I just don't see a world how M80 retake this.
Yeah, do they want to risk this when between the 3 living players they have 1,050 credits left?
Yeah. Well, that's an important opening. KaneZero is also committed a bit further up here. I mean, this is a huge commitment forward as the op player. Oh, it doesn't make a difference. Still pops for the opener. And now you have to force this shorty out. Bold challenge from Kane. Some damage tallied, but more important part is a lot of space has been taken away. A lot of time has been killed off the clock. Ion, though, has to 1v2, and Okeanos saves the day. Wow. I mean, I just didn't think there was a world with just smoke cover that M80 were going to be able to contest the play through the pillar post plant, but that shuts me up quick.
Absolutely. How clutch is that from Bao first? He finds that kill to even the situation into the 3 versus 3. And then while he's trying to get on the spike, Oki's taking the fights, winning them out. What the hell? I mean, that was a crazy opening. Yeah, and then later on, in addition to that, you had KaneZero go for that aggressive play through the smoke, was just punished for it. I mean, that's an insane round to win for M80.
Yeah.
That would have had them in a terrible economic position.
Who's next?
And that was 2 smokes from the Astra. That was it. That's all they had. Conventional drift going to be used early here, though, as rankers are keeping the pedal to the metal. Smoke displacement really just going to force the defense to have to consider this Nightfall on the response. This will push the spike off the site for now. But no immediate follow-up here through mid-map. Okeanos does get caught. Regster just slips behind the turret. And that will allow re-entry with the Aldrone clearing out a little bit of space over through backside secret.
KaneZero more than happy to try and take a fight with this off. But just gets sprayed through. He walks into the spam angle on the spike.
Stop it. Stop it. Follow up. Also not going to be there. Skyu finds a second. He's now got pit control. Eggster has stayed safe over on the connector and a big 1v1 there from Ion. Leaving Sato to the 1v2. This would be tough to break down. Can he clear this first angle? This doesn't predict that Eggster's holding tight. And that's enough for rankers to still hold on to the round 5-2 up.
Oh, that was a beautiful little bait from Ion. They had that inherent read on the timing that Sato would be pushing up, so he just jiggles and starts spamming to draw his crosshair back to main, get Eggster the free kill. That was Lovely little way to finish that round out that devolved into absolute anarchy on the site with everyone just spraying through the walls. Like the poor whoever that was, I can't even remember who had the op. Okay, and he's just walking up trying to get the angle on secret, but is in the spam angle for the spike. It is very silly.
Bring them down.
Well, economy gets broken once again after that round for M80. Down just to Sheriffs in one classic. Cosmic Divide and Lockdown, though. If you start to see that same weapon collection that we saw from a couple of rounds prior, figure that M80 will commit those to try to hold on to this defense. But KaneZera still with an operator out, and they're continuing just to try to set him up for opening angles. This time over towards a... Ooh, smoke gets popped just in the nick of time. Lurk from Ion also stepping up. In a little bit of trouble, gets behind Pillar and everything resets. Spike is still down at spawn, by the way.
Yeah, he realized he was exposed to too many angles there. Let's try and isolate. Instant dink could get shut down.
They got him trapped on this angle. It just depends how you find the shot.
Finish.
Yep, sure does. Numbers advantage. Weapon not in the collectible position, but Sato has snuck forward. First shot misses from KaneZera. Follow from Caillou is good. 2 for 1 the exchange. Caillou maybe not done yet. Body tag comes through, popping in a little bit of trouble. Smoke blocks
left.
the angle. And Rankers are going to commit forward on this. Keep in mind, you still have Inspire on a lurk through mid like you called from a couple of rounds prior.
But he might be too late. There's only 2 players here.
Yeah.
20 seconds left. They're trying to go run away with the spike. I mean, this is an effective save. There's nothing they can do.
10 seconds left.
Unbelievable. And now M80
Did they think they could get to the site on time?
No way. It's just, that never was possible.
Yeah. I mean, they must have just been playing to the save, but also let's just get the spike down at the end.
I don't know. I mean, that's going to feel miserable for Rankers. You have everything in your favor, but Caillou just shuts down the play.
I like, the way Sato and Caillou played that was really nice. Rankers wanted to rotate over to try and bail out Ion, who was, I think, a little bit too happy to keep engaging at low HP. And Inspire's flank was just way too, lengthy. Like he had to cross miles of the map. Pretty disastrous round to lose. Luckily, their economy is still really strong. And they still have an opportunity to break M80s, which is crazy.
It's just one of those rounds you are going to reflect back on because flat out, all it took was 1 dink and a follow-up kill into Ion to completely swing the round. Sato, aggressive angle. He is by himself. There's not even a smoke for him to help him get out. And there is...
Should be droned off of this.
Yeah, a full plethora of Rankers coming out. Sato staying alive and undiscovered behind Pillar. Now re-challenges the angle. This is the opening shot. Has to try to dash away. KaneZera trying to follow behind this. Cosmic Divide separates the site as the Seekers get called, and that will be enough for both teams to kind of take their corners and get the retake underway.
They want to get that free plant. They try and fight past the wall in halls right now. Jump through. Lovely reaction.
Nowhere to run.
Understeer going to be called behind this. 1 tags out, but Sato taken out of halls. Oh, and how about Eggster?
Bro, what?
Holds his position. Foul on the corner, though, does not get concealed. Oh, but the follow-up elimination is there. And B-Dog is just so late to the party for this 1v3. There's just no way.
Is he going to try to go for this? Ion through the smoke, gets the kill. All right. I mean, that's the 2nd kill of the round that just should not have been found by a Rankers player. Eggster teleports and just doesn't get killed coming out of the teleport. Kills Caillou, who's staring at him. That should not be allowed to happen. They get away with so much nonsense because they have the most confidence at all times. That was a great flash, by the way.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's that follow-up angle. But you mentioned it. Eggster just teleports into back halls. Takes down 2, retracks back. No worries there. And again, it's just one of those moments that you look at M80 and say, how do we deal with this quick pressure that Rankers are establishing, especially through the B side? I mean, really on both sides, they've been trying to scale deep into either halls at B or over towards Flower and Secret at A. And largely speaking, they've been successful in that. So Definitely a question that needs to be answered in these last couple of rounds of the half. This one is just pistols. Zera, yeah, little dash into the smoke, but the shorty will work out. And follow up from Ion is perfect. 5v2.
An insane way to enter into the site. I mean, right now, I would just like to see Eggster try and go hunt for the kills. He's one away from the dimensional drift. That would just be the cherry on top of an already really clean anti-eco.
No flash, spammed down by Poppin, and dealt with by Inspire for the flawless for Rankers. All right, need to see something from M80 in this round right here. Got to find some sort of response. And I'm not going to lie, I think just kind of sitting here and watching how they're defaulting to try to play off of Sato taking an open angle, allow him an exit, and then just play for retake. You've got so many flash and kind of ground taker utility pieces with the Trailblazer and the Prowlers. This opening Prowler towards A main just isn't really doing much. It may this round felt like Sato was sticking with him, so maybe they're going to try to take an angle away aggressively through A, but largely speaking, I just feel like the Prowlers and the Trailblazers have been ineffective.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't like how passive they've been. They're not really controlling space, and I like to see that they are doing that this round. They have a lot of control over at the A extremity, but it's just a fast hit from Rankers on B, with Eggster getting all of the information off the dimensional drift, essentially allowing for a free plant here.
Oh, and it's just, again, look how far Rankers can get, how quickly they can get there. I mean, Sato gets the angle at A main. There's still 2 defenders on the A side. Like, why? And now you have to try to find a way to retake this by way of Cosmic Divide. That has to block off the play through pillar. You have to isolate back halls first and foremost. Everyone's here. The stack is on. That's the final flash from Eggster. There is that Cosmic Divide. Stepping up is going to be Ion. Not the same for Popping yet, but he's got an owl drone, and it reveals so much. Eggster able to take down 2. B-Dog, not necessarily seen on this drop-in, but now Rankers can hold on the backside of this Cosmic Divide. They have so many utility pieces still available, and it's just an absolute breakdown. Rankers clean in their post plant.
I really liked watching Rankers on this map when they had the ISO previously, but I also am really enjoying the inclusion of the Jet here. They're playing, or rather they played, the first maybe 50% of this half in a slower fashion, working around the operator, and then later in the half, now they've just increased the pace, 100 miles an hour hitting the site. Either site, they're just storming it, and that's working out beautifully for them. It's just a little bit more dynamic than the ISO look, which was pretty much just all gas the whole time.
Well, first blood tallied. And the heavy stack of utility at A is, I mean, that is everything. That is every piece of utility in the map.
They're going to try to anchor the site when the hit comes in or play for the retake. Zera is in so deep, and yeah, it should get shut down, and does.
Yep. Okeano staying alive, still a little bit on this angle. Post plant can still get set up here, though. Don't call this quits yet.
Planted.
And there's no presence through mid, and yeah, Poppin still got an opportunity to stop this rotation into the site. Spam through the wall. Ion in trouble, but still alive. Reveal coming through. Ion makes good on that. Are you choking me? 3v3. Sato able to find one more over the top. Cosmic Divide coming through for the offense. Trying to get this post plant really established, but now it's just down to Inspire. 1v3 situation, and Sato clean with the opening shot. We'll have M80 finding 4 in their defensive half.
Sato was electric in that round with the shots. The jump up to kill Poppin was so sick. Poppin has had such great utility in this half, by the way. The amount of reveals that he's gotten in some of these retake situations has been really crucial. Much like we saw from Rankers the last time they played Pearl, though, they are just so dominant on attack. Again in the driver's seat. M80 with a lot of work to do. And I just want to see what they have in store for us with this Sky plus Fade initiator pick that they're running. Can they get value out of the Sky when they need it most?
See what happens. See what the design is going to look like. Again, both teams making some swap-ups into their composition coming into this matchup. And the track record again for M80, I mean, the first time they played this map with Sato, they were trying to go to that neon breach standard that we kind of had learned from years ago when this map first came through. Did not find the same value, so they've swapped things up, and they're going for Caio Okeanos in the sky and Fade. At this point, I wouldn't say it's found a ton of value. So yes, whatever this design is needs to come to life here. On the other side, though, Exeter has actually been finding a tremendous amount of value, just getting deep in towards sites. Kane Zera has just been there to try to find opening first bloods, but the ability to run double duelists, especially quick ones, got rankers really aggressively in towards sites. So maybe a little bit of like 6 of one, a half a dozen of another. How do you utilize these double duelists on the defensive side? And we're getting early insinuations of that as really both duelists are playing on opposite sides of the map, trying to put pressure initially into the offensive side of the map.
Early Sky Flash gets the info towards A, and then it's an immediate rotate from M80. They want to pivot over towards mid. Fight into Art off this Trailblazer where the Rankers are stacked up.
Shock Dart pushing them back just a touch more. And look how quick this flank is on the way. Oh, especially now that you're able to line up a collateral headshot with the Sheriff. Those shots aren't necessarily clean, but Okeanos still drops Kane Zera for 3. And M80 are now stuck at mid.
What can you even do about that? Just swing the corner, collat kill. Exeter push all the way out of B. I mean, Kane Zera is just on a different level compared to the rest of the competition in Challengers. When you run down the scoreboard, or rather, when you run down just the stats of everyone in the league, he is far and away #1. And then on a day like today, he hasn't even needed to be that guy. Other players are stepping up so much, but he's still finding his moments. That is so insane.
Wow. Okay, is there any more eco magic in the mix here for M80? Because wow, are they going to need it. 10-4 tally with not a lot of moments going their way throughout the first half. It has us hard pressed to figure out what the recipe and the algorithm is going to look like for this composition for them on the offensive side. On top of that, you need something, and you need to have something quickly, because at the moment it does look like rankers are just kind of running it down. And when you're getting moments like this with lineups with a Sheriff, it just feels like you can do no wrong.
It's going to be all classics for the side of M80. It looks like they don't want to take any risks, invest a single thing into this. Sato heated up a little bit at the end of that first half. Is going to need to continue that form and even be better on top of that. Someone on this M80 team needs to start playing lights out if they have any chance of getting back into this. And I still am just worried that this comp is not good enough compared to rankers to even get back into this anyhow.
Yeah, and again, figuring that this result continues to go the way that it's trending at the moment, you really can't put a lot of blame on M80. Like, they're still trying to figure out what they want to do. You know, since adding Sato to the mix, first iteration of this competition didn't work out well, and whoa. How is Kane still alive? He was affected by every piece of utility, and now the follow-up from Ion is looking good. I mean, again, it is just classics, I get it, but wow, I mean, that was looking like a free first blood for M80, not the case. And now he's got a 4v2. Yeah, and the classics just are not going to do much here.
Just Pow trying to walk in through Art and shut down by Exeter. So far, what we've seen from M80 is just trying to go for the Sky flash play around the corner with the Haunt over top. So if someone from the Envy side is pushed into A main, ideally they get flashed and then they can't break the Haunt because they're blind and they're getting pinged out, but it just hasn't happened yet. It looks like the M80, like the M80 standard open over on that side of the map. They're going to have to go on a major run.
Yeah.
I mean, up until this map, they've looked like the team that has had the best shot of actually beating rankers that we've seen so far, but it is falling to pieces.
Yeah, it really is. Trailblazer out, trying to get pillar control, but it's denied, and Kane Zera is still holding on an angle. Guiding light coming through. That will land, but it doesn't make a difference, at least not initially. Exeter stuck. and will gate crash back. But at that moment, M80 showing aggression through mid at the same time. Now have full opportunities to get on to B as the spike will be collected by Sato, and they'll make their way on.
They really just win that by virtue of the gun diff. I hate to say it, but I think if the NV team had rifles and that played out in the exact same way towards B main, I think they just win that out. Like, the utility from the sky wasn't doing much. It didn't blind them up. They were set up in crossfires, but Exeter just has a Marshall. He can't get a kill just swinging off of that.
Yeah.
If they had rifles, that would have been pretty dangerous, but
Planted.
M80 are able to convert, retain most of their weapons, unless Ion pulls something off here to do some economic damage.
Doesn't feel likely with a Ghost Stinger combination, but you never know. And he may just wait and sacrifice his life to the spike. So a 5th round comes through, and again, I think that, you know, in terms of kind of getting an answer for our questions about the Sky and the Fade, just overwhelming with utility early. Get some of that key ground right away, and then find ways to execute behind the limited amount of flashes that you still have. So I think it's just really pivotal that Caillou stays alive as long as humanly possible in these execute attempts. Because if you can use the Trailblazer to clear out things like Pillar, flash behind that, then you should have advantages in being able to get to the front doors of these sites. I think the question is going to be, how do you deal with rankers trying to throw a lot of utility your way, especially if they continue to play aggressive at the barriers?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose as well for M80 with this, because they want to be running the Jet here, they feel like they need flashes elsewhere. They don't have the Yoru, which has just proven to be meta-defining generally across the board, but especially on this map. Like, again, I'm just going to take it back to the Masters final, G2T1, but both sides run Yoru on this map. Tons of teams do at the moment. It's just been so strong. Anyhow, this is a crucial round for M80 in that they could break the economy of the Envy team.
Oh, and I love this. Again, you see the Prowler out. You've got 3 members there. Just force it. Push through. So, numbers advantage now for rankers. And a key component of the executes off the table. Retraction back over towards A-Link, though. Ion does get caught, so that little push up through mid works out nicely. Defensive shear has also been procced already, so 4v4, but Zera, all behind the alarm bot, tries to get aggressive, has the Bucky in the back pocket as the right click misses, and that will push back this Rankers defense.
In the meantime, we saw Sato proc the shear over towards B, so they won't have to contend with that when they go for the full execute that they're gathering up for right now. He's just hoping someone walks into his crosshair. Flash out from Eggster, offering a little bit of delay with the vines.
Immediately into the back line, with the follow, a little flash and dash to B Halls. Works out to isolate onto Inspire. Zera still has the knives up and ready, though. Is there an opportunity to try to get a reset here? Just flat out misses. Pop it, following up, was able to take down 2, but not quite able to transfer for the 3rd. And M80 staying alive here, stringing them together.
Yeah, they worked the map really nicely there. That's been the case really across the board. They've had some really impressive attack side calling. I like that they were able to work B, get a lot of that important util out early, especially the wall. And in the meantime, pressuring towards Art, keeping attention there, and then rotating into that full hit was really nice. And that play back hauls where they get the flash from the sky right here into the dive with the shorty. They break that economy of Envy.
Oh, and we're going to get just a rundown at mid.
It's ambitious.
Yeah, it is, but
perhaps too ambitious.
Sheriff Stacks, you're hoping for a little bit of friendly fire there. Oh, and Poppin gets red by B-Dog to make matters worse. So, M80's likely to get their 7th round here. And I imagine Rankers are probably going to at least take a timeout after this and try to talk about this. Because, again, it is pretty telegraphed, like, of what M80 are going to do. When you've got a Sky and you've got a Fade, like, the utility is going to give you an indication of what's happening on the map.
Inspire trying to get in the smoke, but Sato is so ready for that. This would definitely be a great time to get the timeout in. Clean for M80, and they needed that to start building the economy up. A couple players still on low cash, so they needed a clean round. I mean, it's even funny to think that back last year, this Rankers team were dominating the Challenger scene. They didn't even have a coach. They were just running it down on teams.
Yeah.
And now this year, they're like, wait, we're actually really good. Let's get a coach. Let's get an org. Let's take this more seriously. We can actually win Ascension.
You see the potential for sure, not just in their first 4 maps, but also I think in some of the adjustments and adaptations they've made here in this one. I don't know. It also kind of makes you sweat a little bit. Like, this is your #1 seed playing up against one of the bottom seeds in the playoffs, and M80 has given them a workout after, what, 2 weeks worth of reps with Sato at most?
That hasn't been long
No.
at all. And that also, though, I mean, it is such a detriment when you're thinking about the map pool, too. Like, how many maps have they really been able to put serious time into feeling like, okay, we've mastered this one and we want to get it in the pools frequently? Like, is Pearl one of those?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, they might just still be throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. That's why they're maybe running this comp. You know, they're not sure of what they want to do 100% just yet.
Oh, this is a pivotal piece of contact right here. Oh my goodness, Kate Zera, a rare whiff. Okeanos secures first blood. Prowler to follow up, that will guarantee a main. Defense has to make a choice here, and it's going to be a gate crash back to middle. Looks like Rankers are predicting the A hit.
This is a round worth 2 if M80 win, and Nightfall is going to catch Ion Cosmic Divide as well. They are dumping everything they've got into this crucial round.
Yeah, Seekers, Flash also being committed. Rankers getting some counter information though, but Eggster, I mean, everyone feels like they're Flash the moment as we swap POVs. Hunter Spirit trying to hold the front lines. 14 seconds worth of time. Caillou just able to find an edge away from the Vortex to get the plant off. Ion shuts down as he tries to make the play through, and that's going to be Bao cleaning up the final 3 eliminations. M80 now up to 8 operators saved, and like you mentioned, the banks are broken again.
Bao has some sharp aim. Love watching his point of view on some of those kills. I mean, we saw it from everyone else, but they were just getting deleted the second they went through the wall. He is so quick with the reaction, snappy, moving the crosshair. Rankers now feeling the pressure. Now they take that timeout, try and cook something up when they have the bad buy here. And then after that, focus on the full buy round where they're going to have crucial ultimates to play with. M80 just expended everything that they have. Bao got enough kills to get the lockdown ready, though, which is nice. But Oki, B-Dog, the Seekers as well, they all ripped their ults. So it's a chance for M80 on their next buy to win by virtue of the ult economy.
Yeah, very true. And it's just the amount of just contest that's coming through. I mean, I swear to God, why when we watched that execute, it felt like everybody was flashed. Like every POV we got,
it was
white screen.
I mean, like from our point of view, like Eggster was actually fine in the corner that he was playing in, but there was so much going on that he just thought he was in danger. Like, there's a molly, is it on me? It's like an inch away from me, and he was actually okay. But then he just swings because it's like there's too much happening. He was overstimulated and just went out into the open and died. I don't blame him though. Like, how do you keep track of everything?
Scout just
Trailblazer clearing out pillar at B. Kane Zera spin C. Yeah, and just all you need is a shoulder. Sato rips it off. First blood goes the way of M80. Again, heavy firepower advantage for them naturally, but now into a 5v4 where really you're looking at Eggster has to hit some sort of a random sheriff shot to try to keep this thing tight. Other side of the map, you do have Ion by themselves. Same situation there. There's just not a chance for this defense to stack and rotate.
And much like Abyss, we're seeing the M80 team lean into Sato's operator on attack. It's good against Rankers playing so aggro on defense. And also, both Abyss and Pearl, 2 of the best op maps in the game. He's really been finding value with it.
Yeah, big time. There comes the execute. Extra back on north site. Ion deleted by the Nanosaur. Reveal is out. That's enough for the team shots to eliminate 1. But Extra's in trouble here. Follow-up flash coming through. Aldrin also committed into the site as we're still waiting for Inspire to rotate over. Just a stinger for them, though. And Eggster is continuing to be chipped away at on the pit. They're happy to let him stay there for now. Poppin will drop. Eggster falls. And Inspire with a stinger is going to have to deal with the small little bit of healing that's coming through as Bao gets back to full HP, 1v4. Yeah, it's not going to happen.
It's hoping at this point that he can get one and then die, and then he'll have his Steel Garden for the next buy round. That's really the best outcome in this situation for him. But basically no chance of that. Just going to go down to the spike.
Yeah, so far so good. I mean, again, for M80, it is one of those situations where it is just, you just throw all your utility at the front. Try to get your numbers advantage off of whatever defenders are playing from inside the site. For the most part, it's worked out nicely for them. A couple of moments that have gotten a little bit scary, but largely speaking, the double duelist defense has been a little bit bullied here.
Absolutely. So this is the round that rankers were really preparing for when they called the timeout prior to that eco round loss we just saw.
Yeah.
Where they have the Cosmic Divide, they have a Dimensional Drift. Those are two really excellent ultimates for retaking a site. So we'll see if they maybe try to lean into that. Kane Zero's got an op actually, and he's just walking out of mid doors.
Oh, and Sato's on the other side. Who sees who first? Kane Zero, shot goes a bit wide. Defense backs away. You also got to keep in mind that on top of this, there is a lockdown at the ready for Bao. So how do you clear that out if you're rankers? Aldro deleted early into this round as well on top of that. So again, M80 will have the opportunity to use some of this Sky utility to clear space.
Here.
Getting into Link right now. Prowler gets some valuable information from that A to B link, which is now needing to be picked up by Pop, and defenders getting a little bit more spread around the map. There's a lot to cover.
Star and Smoke placed over towards B main. The island defender is Inspire on that side of the map. Eggster is on his way back over.
Wall trip.
Oh, and there's the shear that gets popped. B-Dog just going to back away from this, and the spike is actually making its way over. 30 seconds remaining, and ooh, this could get dicey in terms of the timing.
30 seconds left.
Gathering up for the B hit, M80, but yeah, two other players on that rotate. They are far away, and there's three defenders here for rankers.
Eggster has to stay alive. He does better than that. He catches one. Pop it in the corner. A little double stack with Inspire. That will work out. And Eggster, off of his own flash, catches another. Defensive Cosmic Divide is going to be committed. Oh, and the shots from Eggster are beautiful on the Caillou. No chance whatsoever for M80 to get into sight. A lot of it is coming with the heroics of Eggster for 3 in the round.
He stepped up in a situation where M80 were feeling the pressure of the clock, being forced to scale into the site in an awkward situation where there were only 3 of them there. They just played the round too slowly towards the end. Caillou and Bao miles away. And now they're feeling the pressure. They have to take the timeout as the Envy side creep closer to the map win. M80 were on a 5-round win streak.
Yep. And that just, honestly, that just felt like a failed execute. Like, you pop the shear, you get the smokes. Well, the stars are placed over towards top tower and bottom tower at the tunnel. They're just pulled back. So they're short-fused nebulas. So you're thinking that you're just going to flash and use a Prowler or something behind that to get into B, but they kind of just get bamboozled by the defensive Cosmic Divide that comes through. It's like so much of that utility is spent just to make sure they can get through the barrier that I don't even know if much of it actually affects B halls at all. So it just kind of feels like a miscue on the execute there from M80's, which we haven't really seen to this point.
See what M80 can do out of the timeout. That Dimensional Drift was also saved from Eggster. Just didn't even need to be used here. They got the Cosmic Divide out at an opportune time. It's crazy, too, that still Kane Zero's at the bottom of the scoreboard. We just never see this. Like, the minimum average ACS he's put up in a match so far on Challengers has been 300. And right now, he's below that at 260 in the series so far. But the rest of the team have stepped up.
Once again, Trailblazer clears out B long. Spike could be left over towards B lobby. But Rankers have gotten some good intel over through A main. They can rotate the gate crash back over for Eggster. I fear if you're M80, you're just trying to get a little too cute. Like, you just have to trust what your normal execute protocol is here.
They have the lockdown to try and force
should
these
run.
two anchors away from the B site, and there it is. Obviously, there is still going to be that gap in halls, but Bao can throw a molly into the corner to force that player out. Extra feeling the pressure, has to teleport away. They should be able to get a pretty free plant here.
Oh, stop
Inspire,
it.
just pure spam.
Oh, and how much of a difference maker that might play.
And the dimensional drift can come
Yep.
and spot everyone out,
Yep.
get the information for this man advantage retake.
Absolutely the case. Steel Garden going to be called in. Jammed up. Eggster with the shorty able to find the clearance at B halls. Bao now on the pillar. Next one up. You've got a lurk coming through over to the middle of the map through B-Dog, but he's got to come through quickly as eliminations are continuing to stack up here for the Rankers. No angle for Caillou to stop the diffuser, and in the same breath, B-Dog drops on the play through mid. Rankers a key round win. Now up 11-9.
They're slowed up, can't get the spike down at the opportune time, and then Inspire just spamming through, connects for the first kill. Sets them up
Match point.
perfectly to get back in on the retake, using that dimensional drift. That extra wins the shorty duel and back halls popping out of it. It just feels impossible for any team right now in Challengers to get over the finish line against these guys. M80 have tried so hard. They've made it so close. But it just feels inevitable. The talent on this Rankers team is too insane. They just always find a way to get over the finish line.
Well, now we've got pockets being expended. Kane's taking a considerable amount of damage from this turret.
Turret's putting in work.
I'll say. And the longer that was firing off shots, now all of a sudden you've got full flood in towards A. Ion still holding over towards Secret. Gets timing. Oh, and the Razor Wire will clean off the elimination onto one. Follow-up is decent. Kane's sees one over the top, but clean shot from Okeanos, but it doesn't get through the presence of Inspire, who's working for potential ace here. To try to put this series to bed and move on into the playoffs. Still need to clear out space. Popping with the Odin. Gravity Vortex pulls him off from the diffuser now. Is there enough time here? Bao with the shoulder coming out. He's going to take down two, leaving it just to Inspire, and B-Dog shuts it down. We go on.
They're not out of it just yet. Inspire could not have set Rankers up anymore to win that out with the 3K. The trades were so swift. But the utility from those remaining two M80 players was solid, just using the gravels to further delay, pull players off the spike after they were tapped, and Poppin just a little ambitious, trying to get this shock dart into the corner, not having the gun out, and it makes it all too easy for Bao to put him down. M80, they've got a real chance now. Getting close to ult, extra pushed up, cleared by the Prowler. Doesn't want to give up this angle just yet.
Oh, big first blood from Sato. And M80 aren't done yet. Ion trying to hold the ground, shut down. No T's left uncrossed, I's left undotted. Nightfall just to make sure they can get entry in towards A, and Rankers in a bit of a financial pickle are going to have to back away and just try to save.
They've got no other option. This M80 team, they are resilient. The game really should have been over. Bao stepped up in that 2 versus 3. B-Dog as well to rally them back. It's all going to come down to this last buy round.
Wow. I mean, we have been treated to a thrilling matchup here in these 3 maps. Everything has been down to the wire.
If you're an M80 fan as well, win or lose from here, you've got to be excited about the prospects of this team. They were waiting weeks and weeks and weeks for the visa situation to work itself out and get Sato able to play with the squad full time. He shows up, tough first match for them. They barely make it into playoffs. They're in the 8th seed. And now they've pushed Rankers, who went 4-0, clean sweep to the absolute limit. This team has a ton of potential. And they've went for a different roster building strategy after retaining, you know, that core that they had for a couple years with Xander, Nismo, etc. And they've gone, picked up some upcoming players in Caillou, Bao, and damn, do they look good.
Well, here we go. One round to potentially determine it all or determine if we've got extra innings. What's at the ready? Just knives for now. And really, nothing else is tremendously close. Everything is at least 2 ticks behind that. So this is going to be just down to strategy building. You know, the question there will be for M80, again, how deep does the playbook go? Are you able to trust some sort of an execute just off of basic utility and the raw gun skill? On the other side, I think you need to understand that if you're M80, rankers have tried to challenge you and taken these opening first blood battles pretty regularly. Like, they're not scared of jumping up, trying to find just a wide peak angle to make contact happen. So I don't know. It feels like there's a lot of considerations here for M80 to try to get this thing to overtime, but there will be 2 scopes in the mix as well, and that has determined a lot of these rounds at this point too.
K0 has really leaned into the operator on defense and just hasn't found the value that
No, not
Sato
really.
has. He's going for these aggro peaks early on in the rounds, not finding the shots. Can he do that on the last round to get Rankers their first playoff win, move on in the brackets to the semis?
Well, Trailblazer Guiding Light will take some B control away from Rankers. You've got a double stack setup off the operator with Kane and Poppin playing together on this cross through mid. I swear to God, if M80 just for the first time just try to raw walk up into art like this and get picked, that would be the most unfortunate of circumstances. But instead, they're going to go over to B's direction, and Caillou has already gotten so much space forward. Pops the shear, and now here comes the hit through connector at the same time.
They're trying to run down, timing this for when the shear wall goes down. Sato, Caillou can pop out of this with a flash.
I think it would have to, but Poppin, he's actually able to catch first blood. That's on the late play through mid. Knives, not gonna land for Sato. Oh no! What an absolute whiff.
And
You're
Inspire
still
was
gonna get the
just,
spike plant, but it's a 4v3.
yeah, Inspire was just baiting in the corner. K0 operator walking forward. Will anyone peek into him?
Aldrone gonna scout out one player deep. Kane's there, trying to push out, but no, Caillou not gonna deal with it. Seeker's earned, and now immediately popped. Okeanos following up with 2 as he picks up the operator. Okeanos secures overtime with 4. Finds the fallen op and makes perfect use of it. We've got extra innings here.
That is so insane. M80 rallying back. They were on that 5-round win streak. And then Rankers, who just had a huge lead at the time, they find their 2. They have them on match point. They have them in a 3v2 situation that M80 clutch out, and then clutching out in the 3 versus 4. Oki going crazy with the op. That is stunning. This team is so good, and they haven't even had that many weeks of practice together, with Sato finally arriving, able to be with the team as a starter, and they are already this good. No team has been able to push Rankers like this.
Glass cannon build for Sato on this defense. You talked about his presence with this op on the defensive side of the spike. Aldrone is going to scout this, though. Tag is out, so Poppin will make sure they get some presence over towards B long. That's going to be followed up with Eggster tossing a decoy. It'll rotate one defender over, but this is going to be an A execute.
M80 still have 3 players towards B, which is going to leave the M80 players towards A really only with the hope of, let's try to get 1 and get out and then play for retake. B-Dog actually wants to stay in dugout, flashed up.
Still alive, though. Ion with the plant. Support on the way, quickly. Most of it through secret. Haunt just to make sure they can catch an angle. Bow on the cross with the double stack, followed up by Caillou. Trailblazer trying to get some information. Bow makes good use of that. And the follow-up, Bow! Collapsing on the 2. Post plant still holding. In particular, Ion on site has done well. They catch Caillou off the reload, but no! Not going to happen. Now it's just down to trying to isolate these last 2 Rankers post-plat defenders. Caillou catches another, and they know where Poppin is. Here comes the flood forward. No chance for Poppin to stop the defuse. B-Dog finds the elim, and it will be advantage in overtime to M80.
B-Dog staying in dugout there, that position was crucial because the Rankers players just couldn't push deep sight. They couldn't get control of anything, so they all just get stuck on default together. The C's connects onto them. They can't avoid it. They're absolutely overwhelmed. They feel like they need to get out of that spot. but they go right into the crosshairs of the retaking M80 players. Kane trying to find a timing to take the duel from stairs, but goes down again. He just can't get anything started in this game. M80 have shut down the star of this Envy team.
Extra once again, backside pillar has not gate crashed back yet. Often when he gets that contact, he gets out of there. Wait, Bao's found first blood through mid. Oh, the flash pop though. That is brilliant from Eggster. Shuts down Sato, who did have the op. And that will stay on the ground for now. We'll go 4v4, but the middle of the map is an issue for Rankers.
They needed that pick from Eggster bad, and he comes up. M80 slowly rotating back through spawn. Taking their time to get towards the A site, where Ion is entrenched over in dugout.
Recalling my bot.
The issue here for M80 without Sato being a part of the picture is how do you force deep pressure on this execute? Ion's going to feel pretty safe here, I would imagine. No more flashes, no more trailblazers for Caillou. And Ion, give away his position just a touch here by spamming. Team shots through the wall, dealing a lot of damage. Off the reset, though. Here comes Kane's for the help. Trying to isolate over towards this dugout position. And whoa, Okeano's good for two. How clutch has Okeano's been? Now it's just down to Inspire. Low health pools, though, for Okeanos and Caillou.
He does dodge that Nightfall, so they're probably not going to think that he's coming from Flowers right now.
First contact is all that's needed. Okeanos comes through massive again. 4 in the round. And M80 going to stop the undefeated spree from Rankers or Envy, whatever you want to call them. And the improvement with Sato now cemented as M80 have defeated a major opponent.
That is incredible from a team that hasn't been able to play with one of their starters for, what, more than a few weeks at this point, up against the Rankers team who have not lost a match since their debut, and I believe only lost 4 maps and won 34 before getting into this game. Insane that they've finally been stopped. The first seed against the 8th seed in the playoffs, and they have to fight through the lower bracket. What a showing from M80, and what a showing from Okeanos, who at the very end of that game came up with huge multi-kills in multiple rounds. They clutched out that 3v4, the 2v3. You feel like watching that, it's over for M80. What resilience on display.
A little bit of hero ball. Okeanos, though, calling game a couple of different moments in this series. The big news, M80 coming through and making Roy look like an absolute cerebral genius. We love and hate that at the same time. Huge upset, though, and that's just our first match of games here for North American playoffs. Do not go far. We've got so much more to come.
Getting my blood moving has always been like a big match ritual, like whether it was like going to the gym or going on a run, or even if it's just a walk, like getting like the feeling of movement going on in my body was huge.
I usually spend a couple minutes playing World of Warcraft. I don't really know what it is, but I just like to kind of like roam around and just like take it easy.
Well, I always still wake up and listen to music. That's like my go-to. Wake up, listen to some nice music, get a small breakfast bite. This bagel place I found is unreal, so we're gonna probably cop another one of those bagels, you know, and then we'll be set to go. We'll be ready to go.
Orange juice. Orange juice is like, it's actually just aimbot. You drink orange juice, you have like a sugar rush.
I always shower. I don't know. I like feeling clean, and I definitely eat something. What I like to do is I like to get on Type Racer, and I'll say what I see out loud as I type it, as like a little vocal warm up. So I'll do a vocal warm up. It's also warming up my fingers. I'm not much of an aimer, but I like to like just warm up with like some scenarios, play some. I like going in the range, drinking water, maybe getting like a coffee.
I mean, it's kind of cliche, but I think just hanging out with my teammates and getting like, not even just like a warm stream or anything, but just talking to them, just like outside the game, just like enjoying the company of my teammates and stuff like that, just kind of gets you in the zone, gets you happy to play with people.
I don't have a specific routine. I do, of course, try to get like a good amount of sleep, and then like right before the match, do like some depth matches. I wake up seldomly early, around 10 or 11. I take a walk, just to like, you know, disassociate from the game for that little like 30 minutes while I take that walk, you know, just not worry about anything.
Well, pretty much every morning I eat a bagel, but I feel like that probably has no impact on my performance. If anything, it's probably making me worse.